Good morning. We're live. Got about 30 seconds left of Justin Moore's. We didn't have much. Then we got to talk about words you cannot pronounce. These are apparently the most common words that people cannot pronounce for the life of them. They can't get it right. I think it's interesting because they really don't seem that hard. They really don't seem that hard.
Mason in the morning.
Hey, good morning to you once again. It is 8:13 on Colorado's Cat Country 95.1. I'm Mason in the morning, broadcasting live on the radio, but also on YouTube. Search for Mason in the morning. I'm also on Facebook. You can go to facebook.com/Cat Country 951 and you can find out what's going on in the studio. You can also comment. Let me know things like Alicia just did. She said, good morning. Good morning, Alicia. Glad you are tuned in this morning. Good morning, Toma. Good morning, everybody on Facebook, YouTube, and the radio. Today we're talking about words you cannot say. There was a survey done. They asked people what they can't pronounce for the life of them. And we're not talking about difficult words here. We're not talking about, anti-disestablishmentarianism or anything like that. We're just talking about regular, run-of-the-mill, everyday words that you can't, for the life of you, pronounce correctly. And I thought it was a hoot. I actually took a look at the list and saw the top two are ones that my wife has a very hard time pronouncing, and I tease her for it every single time. The top two, she says wrong all the time, and it's not even like it's close. It's not even close. I don't even know how she says it. But the first one is rural. Do you guys know how to say rural? Do you say it right? Rural, right? A rural area. I don't even know what my wife says, but she says it's so crazy. It's like rural. Yeah, so the first one on here, and I guess that's the most common. They put it at number one. I'm not sure if this is exactly, put together from best to worst or most common, but it says the most common words that people cannot pronounce. And rural came up. It's number one there. Rural. I can say it. At least I think so. Maybe I'm not saying it right. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Rural. I think I've got it. Number two is pretty funny. And this is another one that my wife says wrong all the time, no matter what. Brewery. Like where you get your beer from a brewery. And we've been going to breweries all the time. Since we moved back to Colorado, my wife wants to go to all the breweries and try all of the different pumpkin ales. She wants all the pumpkin ales. So she asked me to go to another brewery. But it's a brewery. And I did not know that other people had the same affliction that my wife does when pronouncing words like brewery and rural. What I'm guessing here is that the R's are hard for people. Just judging from the top two on this list, rural, obviously two R's sort of back to back. And then you've got brewery, which is basically the same one. You've got two R's. Lana says rural is the word she cannot say, and that came in at number one. I think it's weird. People can't say rural, and I think it's because of the R's. Jill says Pueblo. Pueblo is hard to say for a lot of people, or for hard for you. Let's see. Got another one that says brewery. I can't say brewery either. My son's baseball team were the Brewers, and it had a rough it was a rough season for me. That's funny. Jamie Niles on Facebook says vulnerable is not one that they can say. Yeah, I think it has to do with the R's, right? Vulnerable doesn't have the two R's, but it does have that L in the R, which I know gets mixed up in a lot of languages. Vulnerable, rural, brewery. This one's funny. I don't know. Marlboro, the cigarettes. Marlboro came in at number 3. Do you say it like that, Marlboro? Am I saying it right? Marlboro. Once again, it's the R and it's an L. Cher says she has the same problem with rural. Honey, I'm sorry for giving you such a hard time. I'm sorry, honey. I've given you such a hard time for not being able to say rural. Nobody else can say rural either. Number 4 on the list is posthumously. Can you guys say that? Posthumously? I don't know how often you say it. And this one I know. This one is huge, and I understand this one. Worcestershire sauce, right? Looks like Worcestershire sauce, which I think some people say that's the correct way to say it. Worcestershire sauce, but it's Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. And I don't even know if you can get points taken off for saying that one wrong. I really don't. Because it's Worcestershire sauce, but it's also Worcestershire sauce. Sixth came in at number 6. That's weird. Can you guys not say that one? Sixth? Does it not roll off the tongue right? That came in as number 6, most common word you cannot pronounce. Sixth. Like the 6th, the 5th, and the 6th. Huh. Anemone. That's a flower, right? Number 7 is anemone. Anemone? Am I saying it right? Probably not. Oh, my wife is commenting on Facebook. She says, I knew I couldn't be the first and only one. I used to have to say rural at work all the time because she lived in a rural area. My wife, or what does this say? My son can't say pretzel. He puts an in it. Pretzel. I've heard people do that. Anemone was 7. What else do we have? Hamster. It's not hamster. It's a hamster. Number 9 is espresso. It's not espresso. Acai. Do you guys know acai? The berries? It's supposed to be like a superfood. Espresso. Acai. Oh, this one's huge. This one ticks off a lot of realtors. Realtor. It's realtor, right? It's realtor. It's not realtor, and it's real estate because it's real estate, but it's not a real tour. It's just a realtor or realty, right? That ticks off a lot of realtors out there. What else do we have on here? I'll just run through them because we're running out of time. Negligible. Can you say that one? Hero or gyro, right? It's really hero. Proselytize. Abominable. What is that one? Metastasized. Ooh, that's a tough one. Metastasized. Phenomenon. February. Do you hear the people who really try to say it correctly? February. Is that how you say it? It's ridiculous. Amortization. Like when you get a mortgage. And for some people, apparently they have a really hard time saying rear wheel drive. Rear wheel drive. That's probably a tongue twister. I like this, but I do want to say I'm sorry to my wife who did comment. She has not been able to say rural or brewery for as long as I've known her, and I've given her a hard time all the time. And I want to apologize to everybody else that gets ripped on for not being able to say rural. It's really, really hard. It's really, really hard. Rural, brewery, Marlboro, posthumously, Worcestershire. If you have any other words that you can't say, let me know. Put them in the comments. We'll talk about it. Realtor. People get real ticked off about that. My wife says I deserve a pumpkin pie, a pumpkin ale after this. You do, honey. I'll get you a pumpkin ale. I'm sorry for teasing you for our whole life together.